and always trip forwards. Don't don't fall backwards.
Yes, absolutely.
Don't resist. Let it happen. Let it happen. It's okay. It's okay.
Absolutely. There's so much going on in Hollywood now with, oh goodness, the Me Too movement happening, the Oscars So White happening a few years ago. You are a Pakistani-American actor.
Right.
What, if any, challenges have you found being a person of color in this world? Have you experienced any of that yourself, and how do you navigate that?
No, I absolutely. I have experienced it. I have personally. I have my friends, peers have. Men, women, people of different races, colors, accents, all of that. And yes, it is definitely there. And the way I look at it is that, when I have to stand up for something, I will definitely stand up for that. There is absolutely no amount of money, no amount of fame, no amount of anything is worth it to me when you have to do what your heart and your soul and your spirit tells is the right thing to do. Having said that, at the same time, I don't let these things become crutches for me. My color, my accent, where I come from, it is the fuel to my fire. It's not going to hold me back. It's going to make me work harder. And by working harder, I mean that, you just said, Oscars are too white. To me, when somebody says, well, you are mainstream if you're playing John Dixon or whatever. No, my thing is that I want to play, a man of, I don't know, Ismail something, and make that person mean. That's the spirit of who we are as Americans. It is to be able to be as inclusive as we possibly can. And if you're going to do that, then we have to push through these barriers as much as we can and not let these things hold us back and go, well, I can't do this, I can't do that. Yeah, there are times, obviously, especially in film, if you're casting a family of, let's say, Caucasian Americans, for me to play the father or the son in that might not fit the family portrait. I understand that. I might have all the ability, all the artistic tools to play it, but maybe I don't fit that particular. That's fine. I understand that. That's just life. But by the same token, there are times when I always make it my point to go, okay, well, I don't always have to justify playing, let's say, a police detective, and then have to also, because I'm playing it, I don't need to justify that, oh, he is so-and-so. We should be able to take that. We don't take, in real life, if we see a detective who was my color, we don't go, oh, he can't be a detective because he is a Pakistani-American brown man. You know what I mean? So that is the kind of balance that we have to always give it. Yes, at the same time, when there's injustice, there is absolutely no, and whether it's an injustice to me or my peers or to world, I will always stand up for that. There's absolutely no choice. We cannot be complacent, and we cannot let it go by.
I think it's interesting you said, and I'm going to just focus on one part of that, and that was the accent. Because the other parts are given, we sort of live in this world where if you don't fit the bill, I've auditioned for things and they've said, how tall are you? And I've said 5'7", and said, thank you for coming, because everyone else, all the other guys are 6'1", and I can't exactly grow, right? It just is what it is. But I find interesting the accent, because when you said that, I almost had to remind myself that I am listening, quote, to an accent. But I find it funny because I have a lot of friends from all over the world, and I always think I sound like I have an accent to them, apparently. So it's interesting that when you listen to that, when you think about it, it's such an American way of how we view our world. I've never seen in any role you've done that's been a problem, ever.
Well, look, I mean, the thing that I keep reminding myself and others is that even within this country, there is such a variety of accents. You can always tell a person who's from New York from a person who's from Texas, from a person who's from California, or a person who's from the Midwest. So what is the American accent? I can talk to a friend who is, who's Asian American, and you can tell that there is that side. I can talk to a friend who's Hispanic American, and I know what their accent is. I can talk to a friend who is, whatever, background they might have. So let's not get hung up on that. Let's try to push through that barrier. So to me, and by the same token, if you want me to do I don't know why you would want me to do a Southern accent, but I, as an actor, I should be able to get there if need be. So I think it's an interesting question to keep asking ourselves: what is American, and how do we define it?
Absolutely, and I think with actors like yourself, it's being defined as diverse and talented. Let's talk about your theater work. First, sir, I guess the first question I need to ask before we go there is, when do you sleep? Is that not something that's a part of your life?
Yes, sleep. I think I'll wait for the eternal sleep when it comes.
There it is. There it is. That big sleep in the sky.
Exactly.
This movie just came out. You're working on other projects. You're still doing your television projects. They're still recording. And you're doing theater. Tell us about this theater role you're currently doing.
Right now, I'm playing Richard III, Shakespeare, in Boston. We're in rehearsals right now, and it's an iconic, challenging role. And I wanted to make my own mistakes and see how I can explore it, because there's something really fascinating. Again, when you play a character which is so obviously one way or the other, a good guy or a bad guy or whatever, So the actions visually and vocally and the story can show you what this character's base is, whether it's good, it's bad, it's whatever. But the challenge then becomes, how do you find the other side of this life? And the reason I say that, again, is, as I said earlier, that nobody gets up in the morning and says, I'm going to be totally evil. It's how do we humanize the character? So and that's a challenge that I love in this play, is Richard is an iconic villain. Yes, he is.
Absolutely.
But when does his conscience come into play? Where is that moment? How do we, rather than demonizing or glorifying anyone, whether it's fictional or whether it's in real life, how do we humanize the character? And that is the challenge that I wanted to take on. So yes, we're going to do it. Hopefully, it's going to be an exciting production. We are doing it outside in the open, and I think by the time we get done, we were told that there would be 75,000 to 100,000 people who come and see it. So every night you have an audience of over 7,000 to 8,000 people.
And I may have to join that audience, I'll tell you, because Boston is not that far away. I would love to see your take on that, because what I find so refreshing about what you're saying is you approach your roles almost with a childlike curiosity. It's, let's see what we can do, let's discover. And I like this concept of falling forward instead of falling back, or tripping forward is the term you use. Like, I really like this. And if you know Shakespeare and if you know the play, the character Richard III, it's straightforward. You're a villain. You could play it really easy and safe, but you're still allowing yourself some room for discovery. And that's exciting to watch an actor do that.
Yeah, because you can play him very, mustache twirling, bad guy.
And we've all seen that, right?
We have all seen that. And then I think, personally, for me, it becomes boring, because the minute you can assign a label to a character or a person, our interest in that character is gone. Because we know, and especially in today's world, the minute we go, that's a bad guy, you start texting on your phone or whatever.
That's exactly.
So the challenge is, well, how do I keep turning that notch a little bit? How do I bring people on this journey with me and try to show them different ways of how this character interacts with his world? And in that is some real delicious, there's some really delicious moments. But then also how do we find some level, how do we identify on some level with the character that's in front of you? And that is going to be the challenge, I think. And when does that happen? And what is even the limit of his own evil? Where does he find that, okay, I can't go beyond this. I am disgusted by myself. And I think there is a moment there, which I'm starting to find.
What's next for you? With everything, all of these projects you're working on, and so, I mean, your IMDb is just the thing that a lot of actors look to and say, one day, right?
Well, knock on wood, yes.
What's next for you? What's on the horizon?
There are a couple of film projects that are coming up, and there are a couple of TV series which I'm very excited about. Hopefully they will materialize, and if they do, that would be a wonderful, wonderful opportunity and a challenge to go there. I'm also writing something for film, which was actually, well, I'll give you, it was a play that my grandfather wrote in 1927, which is one of the most produced plays in South Asia. And I think it might be a wonderful challenge how to bring that to the international audience and see where that takes us.
That sounds amazing. Absolutely amazing. Please tell us, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me everywhere. You can find me on Instagram, and that is my first name, Faran, and my last name, Tahir. That's on Instagram. I think on Twitter, you can find me first name, Faran Tahir 123. I don't know why I did that. Nonetheless, it's that. and then there is an official page on Facebook where you can go there too. There's a personal one, which is very boring because I never go there. And there's an official page, which is also Faran Tahir. You can find me there. And I hope people do come because I love talking to people, and I'm actually quite good at responding back. So, unlike many others. Yeah,
and that's something to note, everyone. Outside of, in between his rehearsals and table reads, he still finds time to tweet you. So this is a man who really loves his job, which is absolutely amazing.
Because look, I mean, you learn so much from people. I mean, I can't work in a vacuum. It's by learning about other people is how you find what you do to be more relevant and more vivid. So yes, please come join me on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, and let's talk.
Mad Genius is currently on Amazon Prime, on Vudu, and on iTunes for download. Again, it's a great film. Faran Tahir plays the role of Eden in this film, and I absolutely believe you'll enjoy it. Mr. Tahir, thank you so much for joining us on the TE Spotlight today. I really appreciate you taking the time out.
No, thank you for having me. I had a wonderful time talking to you because I love when you can have a conversation, not just an interview. So Thank you for having this conversation with me.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you all for listening to the TE Spotlight.
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Sparky the Fire Dog here. Protect your family from fire. Make sure your home has smoke alarms in every bedroom, outside your sleeping areas, and on every level of your home, even your basement. For games and activities, go to sparky.org.
We want to keep you, your family, and your community safer from fire. This message brought to you by the National Fire Protection Association and your local fire department. Visit sparky.org.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get the idea. 55 more seconds of me talking to you when you could be speaking to potential new customers. For only $5, you can permanently add your ad to this or one of our many other podcasts. That's every download, every stream, every live listen, everywhere in the world. All you need to do is visit us online at TomasianENT.com. That's TOMASIANENT.com.
and click on the services link at the top of the page.